Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I haven't done a live stream like this in quite a while. So it took me a while, as well as I had some things to do. Obviously, one of them was getting my hair cut. So I am running super duper late. So we're going to see how many people actually come on in. So we are back here at Average Joe PT. Mr. Bulldog's in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in and get connected. I just started. Come on in. So this is my original spot that I did my first live stream at. Oh, geez. 3-4 months ago. So I figure what better way to keep things rolling by going right back where we started. So I'm here trying to finish up some eating. I'm running super late, as you know it. All right, 3-4 people watching. We'll see how many people we can get in here. I'm going to go ahead and share us out. I should have done that. Let me do that right now. Share us out to everybody. Of course, YouTube always wants me to buy their products. I don't know why. Here we go. No, that's not what I wanted. Trying to share me out to Facebook. For some reason, my phone is not cooperating with me. Okay, apparently I can't do it that way. Go ahead and tweet. I'm going to tweet this out. I'm going to get a couple different platforms here, Bulldog, so hang in here with me if you can for a second. We're going to talk a little bit more about the different people I'm going to talk about on Sunday's video. There we go. Now I'm trying to I used to be able to share this out to my Facebook, but they've changed it. You can't share it out no more to Facebook. Oh, there it is. They changed it again. You used to be able to do it a lot easier. There we go. Facebook. Okay, did that. Did that, did that. Beautiful. Okay, I think that's enough for now. Brown Eye Trucker, BET, come on in, girl. I'm back in the studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm running kind of late tonight, and I'm glad you're able to come in. Daisy, my mom and Daisy are here. Mega shout out, Daisy. Come on in. I'm running kind of late, but I'm glad you all came in. I shouted you out last night, BET, so you might have got, I'm hoping you got 1 or 2 people from last night's live stream that I did, because I shouted you out a few times. Thank you, Daisy. So tonight, we're going to kind of wrap up a little bit in the type of treatment techniques that you're going to see if you go to see a physical therapist. So that's my whole premise tonight. Nerdy Gear, come on in. Hello, host. Thank you, AG. Well, you're welcome, my dear. Oh, my mom says, hi, BET. My mom has been a trooper. She's been watching all my stuff. And she's been commenting. So I share this out to, obviously, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So I'm back in the original studio here, BET. This is where it all began. So obviously it's a little bit different than how I had it set up before. I started the green screen, BET, but as you can see, this is as far as I've gotten with it. Well, you're welcome, Daisy. So last night, I talked a little bit about Robin McKenzie. I talked a little bit about Shirley Sarman. And I talked about Mulligan. Okay, so I'm going to kind of show you who these people are right now. So Robin McKenzie is this old guy. People think of Robin, they always think of a woman. And in physical therapy, the reality is, oh, thank you, got 7 watching. That is awesome. Thank you so much. You guys are beautiful. And Robin McKenzie is actually a guy. Let's see if I can turn around here, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can get it around here. There we go. Come on. It's like a 10-second lag. It kind of drives me nuts a little bit. Let's see if I can get a better image that's blown up. That might help if I have my scalpel out of the way. Alright, let's see if I can get a better picture of this guy. Seriously, that's as big as it's going to get? Good Christmas. Sorry about this, folks. I thought for sure it would just pop up. You would think, you know, if you're trying to save... it's not going to be there. Anyways, I'll get a better picture so you can actually see this bozo. God rest his soul. He's been dead for a long time. Why, oh why, doesn't that not blow up bigger? Isn't this terrible? Isn't this terrible how you can't blow up something bigger than this? You know, the internet people, they need to make this, they need to rectify this. This needs to be, you should be able to blow up a picture and be good to go. Copy image. And, yeah, I don't know how to do it. So anyways, since this is being absolutely frustrating right this second, and this should be much easier to actually manipulate, like, why would you have a tiny picture that you can't get any larger? Kind of stupid. So I copy the image. Where's the image go? Can I go into... can I go down here to like any type of... Where can I go here? Not mail. Notepad. Can I go to Notepad, just copy it and paste it here? No, that would be too easy, right? Isn't that terrible? Look, I lost 2 people because I can't figure this out. I don't blame them. Does anybody have any idea how? Be right back, Mom calling. Okay, BET. That's all right. I'm trying to figure this out anyways. How I should. They should literally be able to open up and blow right up if I wanted it to. Huh. Well, that's ridiculous. Oh, that's a little bit better. Look at it. Got all this stupid spam nonsense on there. I could give a boots cahoot about that. Alright, here he is. That shows a little bit better. I don't know why I'm getting so much. I changed the lighting and everything. I don't understand why that's still kind of like reflective in nature. Let's see if I can turn this so you can actually see it a little bit better. Anyways, this guy's Robin McKenzie, and he came up with the extension-based program a long time ago. He's what I talked about last night where I said, you know, he put someone on their stomach and forgot about them, and whenever he came back, the symptoms had gotten better. RC! Hello, my friend. I missed your live stream. I'm just go to sleep, but I said I saw that you're now live, so I want to see how you're doing. Thank you, RC. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This old guy here is Robin McKenzie. He's the spine guru for lumbar extension. I can't make it any bigger. You can see it a little bit. It's still not great. I guess maybe if and then I'll mess it all up. If I was thinking about bringing the camera closer, but I think that's just going to mess up a lot of stuff. All right, I got 4 watches. Woo, we're dropping quick. Where's my drink? Dropping like a rock. Down to 3. Well, I know my mom is still here. Do you guys have any questions at all? If not, I'm going to go ahead and get started here in a few seconds. Console fix. Lots of laughs. Me too. Hi, console. Come on in. I think you're new. Yes, I am. I know you're here, Mom. I'm trying to finish up my vegetables. Gotta have vegetables as much as you, even if you don't like them. Ugh. After a while, even I get sick of vegetables. Can you believe people's YouTube channel is really just watching someone eat all day? I can't see how that'd be entertaining. But there's channels out there like that. I watch them sometimes because they're a nice subscriber, but I don't know. I don't see it. I'd be very surprised if they would blow up. They might, who knows, on YouTube. Hard telling. Okay. See, that comes in nice. See, that comes in nice, so you can see you can see everything. But if I can just get it here where every picture I have is blown up like that, that'd be nice too. But unfortunately, that's not the case. At some point, BET, I'm going to get this green screen working. I tried a few things. It's almost like you just have to buy the kit and go from there, because I'll probably end up having to take that down and paint it. Okay, let me move this phone aside so I don't break it. All right, so let's get started here. I don't have it over here. I have this bind though, that'll be enough. So I was saying yesterday, besides the extension piece of this whole thing, which is arching of the back. So this is, let me move this sideways so you can see it better. So this is extending, okay, or arching. Extending is what we call it, extension. And this is flexing or rounding out. And so that was Robin McKenzie's approach. When we talk about the different muscles that run on the inside, I'm going to go get some rubber bands. I'll be right back. Okay. So I got some rubber bands here, and we're going to simulate these rubber bands for muscles. Kind of think of it that way. And so the muscle really just hangs along the side here. This main is called the Iliopsoas, and I've done this before in my other my video that's done quite well, at least for me. I mean, not for anybody who's big, but I got like 2,500 views on it. And so think of this as it's a two muscles or bifurcated muscle. One attaches up here at the spine, and the other one attaches down here at the pelvis. These two meet up together, and they make one main tendon that reaches down and around and attaches to the back side of your hip here. And so this is your main flexor of your hip, as well as it helps flex your spine forwards. Now, when you think about that, think of the opposing muscle or the opposite muscle on the back side. You know, so you have the muscle in the front, and then you have this one muscle in the back. This one I'm talking about here is called the Quadratus Lumborum, this muscle on the back side here. And so between the muscle in the front, you can see how they can easily play tug of war with each other, with either something too tight on the front and too overstretched on the back, and both of them fighting for where the spine is going to be in space. And so that was Shirley Sarman's. Hello, how you doing, sir? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This gentleman, he is amazing. I met him probably, oh shoot, a month ago now. I saw him doing a live stream, and I got in there. He's from overseas. He's not from the U.S. He does speak English as well as his native language. You guys definitely should get connected with him if you want to start getting people from around the world, because he's got a channel. He does live streams every day, or pretty close to every day now. He's gone back to work, or he was already at work and I never realized it. And so he's doing some of his live streams from work. At least his last live stream was from his work. I think he was on lunch or he was on break at some point. So you definitely want to get connected with this gentleman here, Mr. Herrera. I'm sure I'm mutilating the name. Oh, look at Miss Cruz is in the house. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I want you guys to try and get connected. All right, so we got Scully here hanging out with us. This little crystal palace. I got to make sure it don't tip over. This thing is so sensitive. There we go. That's not too bad. It looks better from my point of view. Let's see if I tilt to see how it looks. Okay, good. Now he's facing a little bit better your way. So come on in. You can scroll up a little bit higher. You can see some of the other people that were in here earlier. So I was specifically just talking about the muscle imbalance between the muscles in the front and the muscles in the back. And so that's one of the Shirley Sarman's philosophies, which is what I'm going to talk about probably Sunday or Monday, depending on when I can get around to it. And talk about muscle imbalance and how that affects your spine, and how some physical therapists, with their philosophy, they really work on just specific muscle groups that are tight that can affect the spine versus muscle groups that are too short, not short, but over elongated, and so as the ones that are also weak. So a lot of times, if your hamstring muscles, which are the muscles that run down the back of your hip and down your leg on the back side, if they're usually weak, you can almost bet that your glute muscles, your gluteal muscles on the backside are also going to be weak. So there's this group of muscle groups that when they're weak, they're usually weak in pairs, and they usually cross multiple joints. So that's some of Shirley Sarman's philosophy. Oh, hi Joe, I'm trying to learn how to be healthier. Hi Aunt Lou, thanks for coming. This is my first live stream that I've done in this area in quite a long time. I normally do it in my other two spots in the house, but this is the upstairs where I do my my normal spiel on the weekends, my edited videos with Scully. So this is kind of like the hideaway spot. And so I normally jazz it up and have different angles, but I made it pretty simple tonight. I'm just having it like this. I'm running late, so that's the other big problem. And so a lot of my people that would normally be in here aren't going to be in here tonight because they're in different time zones. It's 7:30 my time. When I do this live stream like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes, it's already late on their side of the world. So it's some of the people, it's 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So it all depends on. This is probably one of my later streams that I've done in quite a while. So anyways, so needless to say, the Sunday, Monday's video, whenever I can get around to it, it's going to be on those three main people. Robin McKenzie, Shirley Sarman, and Mr. Mulligan himself. And so when you go and see a physical therapist, and hopefully you got one that just didn't get out of school, because the reality is a lot of those, they just, from my experience of being one as well as training them, they're just getting their feet wet. They really don't have they have a generalized foundation, but they haven't really got themselves focused on what particular quote-unquote guru that they're going to follow, whether it's someone who, like I said, who's a Robert McKenzie approach, Shirley Sarman approach, a little bit of both, or Mr. Mulligan, or functional movement screen, which is called the FES, or an FMS, excuse me. And so that's a whole philosophy in which you have a little bit of muscle imbalance, some things that are tight and weak, some things that are elongated and weak, and some things that are just weak in general. And so they kind of look at that process of, when we're talking about the spine, the abdominal muscles that are weak, or spinal muscles in the back that are weak, or certain muscle groups that attach from the pelvis and the spine that are either tight and weak. And so how do we get them elongated again, but not getting them overstretched and weak? So you can have something that's short and weak, as well as something that's over elongated or overstretched and weak. So it really depends on. Hi, Miss Jean's channel, and Nettie Greer is back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, that's right. I got Scully illuminated up tonight, and I got him kind of focused more towards the camera. Normally I have him in the background, but I said, you know what, let me light him up, make things a little bit darker in here so he kind of illuminates a little bit better, and see how it turns out. And needless to say, he usually steals the show anyways. But 10 thumbs up. Yeah, I got 11 right now, so I'm not doing too bad. And this is a late stream, and I realize that. I'll probably do a half an hour, depending on how. Yeah, good morning here, exactly. Like I said, some of these nice people are on the other side of the planet. You know, they could be between 6 and 12 hours difference in time zone. So it really depends. And when I do them later, I haven't been doing them later like this, and so it really does throw people off, including, you know, some of my loved ones that thought, hey, you're going to do a live stream tonight? Yeah, I had to get my hair cut, and I have a little above ground pool, and I had to mess around with the ladder fell apart. So needless to say, life got in the way, and I couldn't do my live stream when I wanted to. So such is life, that happens, right? But I'm here. That's why I never on my actual channel say specifically when I'm coming in the house, when I'm coming. So because, like, I never want to say, I know on my edited chart on my channel, the graphics itself, it says Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then Sundays. So I never like to give a time because, you know, people come on and, hey, you weren't on, you know. So I don't want to narrow myself in that much of a box. Some people won't even say, you know, what days are coming on. And so I at least do that for the people. But I digress. CGM Scratchers, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Background first, just preparing my breakfast now. Thank you, Miss Jeans. Thank you, I understand. Thank you for giving me some watch hours. If you guys have any questions in regards to the spine, so I'm going to talk about a few more things in regards to what will happen when you go to a physical therapy clinic in general for a particular problem. In this case, we're talking about the disc. So obviously you're going to go in, they're going to want you to, sign their HIPAA guideline rules and stuff like that for confidentiality. They might have you fill out a couple pieces of paper, where's your pain, and kind of describe your pain and a few other things. And then you'll go back and you'll see the physical therapist. They'll do the evaluation. Evaluations are anywhere between 30 minutes an hour, depending on the clinic. I've seen clinics, 15, 20 minutes is a full evaluation. Excuse me. I guess you can, you can probably get a good gist of what's going on in 15, 20 minutes, but to tease things out completely, probably not. It usually takes me between 30 and 40 minutes to really do the evaluation and then throw some treatment in there. So about an hour, anyways between 30 minutes to an hour. We're going to go over for a disc problem, we're going to go over your reflexes. We're going to, obviously get the good history. We're going to look at your range of motion in your back. We're going to look at what we call a repeated movement screen. Have you bend forwards a bunch of times or extend or laterally bend, or see how you're doing positioning and sitting and stuff like that and standing. We'll check your legs, we'll check your pelvis, kind of work our way. Check your flexibility. We'll do some orthopedic tests to really assess the pelvis or the hips and the lumbar lower back. And then we'll check how you're walking and stuff like that. Check your strength in your lumbar spine, your abdominals, and your legs. And try and really figure out, what's making your symptoms worse, what's making them better, and go from there. So that's kind of the gist of a basic orthopedic kind of across the board. We're going to do a basic medical screen to make sure that nothing else is going on that might be medically based versus, what we call mechanical based in regards to, this is coming from the spine, and it's not coming from, let's say, your kidneys or something else in your body. And so that's kind of the gist when you go and see a physical therapist. Kind of an overarching theme of what their evaluation is going to be. Once and so let's just say that they're more of a Robin McKenzie's camp. This is kind of what they do. There's a specific type of movements that Robin McKenzie, when you go to a few of his courses, which I've been to, they're kind of a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you can get certified in it. I never was because I was lazy and didn't want to spend the extra money just to have a few more letters after my name. But I've been to the courses. So he ends up doing a few more things. He looks at if you have what's called a lateral shift, all right, which means you are sideways, whether you're in one direction or you're the other direction. So if you have a lateral shift going on, they're going to look at that, as well as look at the repeated movement of bending forwards and extending back. And so And then they're going to devise, all right, how do we get your symptoms to go away? You know, and he goes into that, what I talk about, and you can see in a lot of my back playlist videos, goes over Robin McKenzie, where you're lying on your stomach with a pillow at your belly button if you can't get your leg symptoms to go away. The whole premise of Robin McKenzie's approach is to get if you're having disc issues and nerve issues in your legs, the initial approach is to get the symptoms out of your legs and back to the spine where it's coming from in the first place. So that's the whole, what we call, centralization of your neuropathic symptoms or your nerve symptoms. And there's a whole process to that. There's a progression of, if you have a pillow initially and then take the pillow out so that your spine is getting some extension or arching, then you'll go on your elbows, and then you'll go and do press-ups, and then we'll go into some other stuff. So that's the basic gist of Robin McKenzie's approach. It really, once you understand it and you go through it a few times, it really, there's not, I don't want to downplay it, but in regards to, I mean, it works, and it works a lot of time. But it's not one onto itself. If you only just did Robin McKenzie's approach, yeah, you're probably going to be good 25, maybe 30% of the time with the patient. You're going to want to look at, types of sitting positions they're putting themselves in, what types of movements are they doing that could be inflaming this thing more. And in Shirley Sarman's category, I always take the approach, are there any type of weaknesses or flexibility issues going on top of, we want to also do the McKenzie extension approach. So I'm in kind of both parks or both philosophies when it comes to looking at the spine. Now Mulligan, he's going to look at restrictions and where your spine is stuck, almost like what a chiropractor. So that's kind of like the chiropractic philosophy approach in physical therapy is Mulligan's and Mulligan's movement and stuff like that. And so that's kind of a gist of that approach when it comes to the spine. I will be here till the end, host. Just busy. All right, Flint, Michigan Gaming. I'm sorry I didn't see you there initially. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. All right, he does all kinds of video games. He's doing the Boom, Beach Boom or Beach Bomb Boom or whatever it is, something like that. So if you're interested in that. And then there's Nettie Greer. They've been coming in a little bit. I mean, hit and miss. And everybody gets busy. Everybody's got a lot of people on their channel. So I'm very glad you all were able to come in tonight, even though I know it's not my normal time. Depending on how my life goes and how my work goes, we're starting to ramp back up at work, which is yay for Scully and me and my family, because guess what? When Joe works more, Joe makes more money. So that does help pay the bills. And so that's going to make some of this a little bit later. All good. Just enjoy watching you. So informational. Oh, thank you so much, sir. Much love to you, and thank you so much. If you have any questions, I know sometimes people feel shy or whatever. They feel like they can't, they either A, don't feel like they're, knowledgeable enough to ask a question. But, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and shout them out. The only question is is a dumb one, is the one that you didn't ask. I can't answer something if I don't know about it. So I'm just going to keep going on here, because this is my fourth and final video in my lumbar disc series that I'm doing. And I'm going to do it a little bit like this. My feeling is I'm going to do a little caption with Robin McKenzie, with Shirley Sarman, with Mr. Mulligan, and I'm going to go over the arching themes I'm talking about right now, which is the Robin McKenzie's extension approach and Shirley Sarman's flexibility and muscle groups that are indicative of some that are tight and some that are elongated and ones that are weak, and how that can affect her spine. So that was her approach, and still is her approach. You can get certified in it. There's these courses you can go to on the weekends. Every licensed professional, including the ones out there that do hair for a living, every state has a license, and you have to take so many what are called CEUs, or continuing education units or credits, whatever you want to call it, each year. And so, or every 2 years, depending on what state you're in. New York State for me was every 3 years, but here in North Carolina, I have to do it every 2 years. I have to have 30 hours. But anyways, so watching on here in support. Thank you so much, Flint, Michigan. Oh, Flint, Michigan, number 2. Thank you so much, sir. Look at that. He's double shooting it tonight for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So he's giving me double watch hours for the price of one. Look at that. I can't ask for anything more than that. Just that the fact that you guys are coming, and giving me a little bit of your time, I appreciate it. Hopefully, hopefully I can get, if there's anything, hopefully it'll be a question on Jeopardy that this will answer for you. Most of the time I try to be modest because the reality is I just, for me personally, I'm not one of those people that try and boast and this and that. I'm just not that kind of person. So, needless to say, I try and keep myself in the down low. Unless I get fired like my mom. I get fire and brimstone. You better watch out then. I'm probably more like my mom than my dad for my personality most of the time. She might differ, but I don't know. Anyways, let me go ahead and continue. And so Sunday's video is going to be on the different treatment techniques and the 3 main philosophies, and these are the people. And you can go to their weekend courses if you're a physical therapist, and you can get, you can go ahead and there's usually it can be 2 or 3 weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you take a test, you pay for the darn thing, as well as pay for the course, right? It isn't bad enough you have to pay for the course and you have to pay for their test separately. Now, if this isn't a money scheme, I don't know what is. This is the reason why I don't do it. And then you can go ahead and pass their exam and you can get certified, and then you can put some more letters after your name. I could care less. I have more than enough letters after my name in the first place. But anyways, Raymley or Raymley. Oh, hi, wow. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in and get connected. I'm talking about the spine itself, and when you go to see a physical therapist, what are you going to the approach or experience that you're probably going to see? So those are the 3 big ones, unless you have someone just out of school. Now, there's another old school approach that I'm going to talk about right now, and you might see a little bit of that. You won't, the old school approach to physical therapy literally was mechanical or manual lumbar traction. It was hot pack or cold pack with electrical stim. It was a little bit of massage. You might have some ultrasound, and you might do some basic stretching and strengthening exercises. And that was kind of like the nil for physical therapy for quite a long time. That's kind of like what it was. And so, over the years with doing research and realizing that some of that stuff didn't work at all. You might have felt good while you were there, but it didn't fix your nerve pain. All right, it didn't fix your back pain. You went home and a few hours later you were hurting again. You're like, jeepers, this, and then you go back a few more times, or you might go back because it feels good. Who doesn't like a massage, right, or a hot pack? And my insurance company's paying for it. I'll keep going, right? So that was the underlying, the pillars or the foundation. That's how it was back then. Now you're still going to see a little bit, and then maybe not that to that extent anymore, but you're still going to see people that do some lumbar traction. Now, there's some justification for it if you do that traction in conjunction with maybe Robin McKenzie, or making sure that you figure out which muscle groups that are impaired that are directly related to the spine problem, as well as figuring out, your movements that might be causing or continuing to irritate parts of the spine that I talk about all the time, the bad sitting, the bad bending, and all these different types of techniques that I just talk about over and over again, not only in my edited videos, but also on my live streams. Hi there, Croons. The Croons are in the house. Croons, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. These guys and gals, I think it's, I don't know if it's husband and wife. I have no idea. I think it's a husband and wife. Don't insult me. Don't get insulted if you're not. I don't know. But anyways, it's a man and a woman on their own channel, and they do all kinds of beautiful aerial view shots of different things. It's absolutely gorgeous. You just get mesmerized and taken away between the background music and the lighting and just those just, I mean, these old type castles and these, you know, if you remember the Sound of Music movie, and you see these grandiose, you know, aerial views, I guess is the best word I can think of right now. That's the Kroons. So you definitely, if you know, want to go and get connected, they are amazing, very nice people. I can't say enough about them. And Miss Ernie Hatmaker's coming in because she just shared me out. There she is. Miss Ernie Maker just shared me out. Ernie Hatmaker, I'm not sure if she's in here or she's coming in here, but her and her wonderful husband are his name is Ed, and his channel's Ed's Attention to Detail. And so, needless to say, she does all kinds of video logs or vlogs, I guess, and she plants, and she does shout outs on Sundays, and she helps her husband a little bit with his videos, and they go back and forth. He's working on his truck, and then he's working on going fishing one day, and then he's still working on building his house from scratch. And so, hey, was restarting your playlist and saw you were live. That's right. Oh, thank you, Miss Ernie. She's so sweet. Her and her husband. You can't ask for better people. You really can't. If you want to know about plants, I know about plants because my mom and my aunt and my father do plants. So I can just listen to my parents all day long or my aunt. But Ernie Hatmaker, if you don't have a mom and dad and an aunt like mine, and you can always go to Miss Ernie Hatmaker, and she shows you her tomato plants, and she kind of discusses all the stuff that's going on in her life. And it's really interesting. I like this stuff. I think she showed one day about her dogs, and one day washing the pups. And so she's kind of giving you a little bit of view, kind of like a view of her life. And Ed's cool, too. I love his stuff. I want him to get back to doing models and stuff like that. I love that stuff. But obviously, he's building a house from scratch, so it might be the winter time. Maybe, I really hope Ernie, and when you guys get the house built, that you kind of show us a walkthrough of the house. That'll be awesome. I can't wait to see that because we're basically watching it being built from scratch. And so that'll be cool to see it all done and get a walkthrough of it when it's completed. That'll be awesome. I'm kind of can't wait to see that because it's always exciting. But anyways, I'm talking about the three main gurus, but in physical therapy, this fourth video is all about different treatment techniques that you're probably going to either observe or be part of if you go into a physical therapist. So I talk about the basic evaluation. I mean, like literally, I'm just shuffling over this. You know, I could go crazy in just one spot, but I don't want to bore you all to death. But so they're going to do a basic orthopedic screen, a basic neural screen, movement screen. Then if they do a McKenzie's approach, they might do a McKenzie's evaluation, a part of it like I talked about. They might do some Shirley Sarman stuff, some orthopedic test stuff to really tease out what's going on in your back when it comes to those different people. Or just if you have a spinal restriction, you might do more of a Mulligan philosophy where you do some mobilizations or spinal manipulations, which is chiropractic, but we do the same stuff. We don't do the neck so much. I could go and be specialized in that. I did go to I think two courses specifically on spinal manipulations of the lower back and mid-thoracic area. In the shoulders, but I stayed away from the neck. You know, just the fact that needless to say, when I think of do I need to do a grade 5 manipulation, because that's what it is, or high velocity thrust. It's called a couple different things in the business. But for me, there's two schools of thought. Is something is mobile versus stability. Most of the time in your neck, you have too much mobility. Now, if you talk about an arthritic neck, or you have what we call facet syndrome or something like that in the neck, then yes, then we're talking about we have a restriction and we have too much restriction, or in this case, stability, kind of a little bit if you think of it that way, and we don't have a lot of mobility or movement. But most times and not, it's not that you don't have enough movement in your neck. To do a mobilization or manipulation, it's only the First, there's 5 grades. The first 2 grades of immobilization or manipulation are very soft movements. You're just barely moving the muscle and the tissue around. If I did that to someone, they would be like, that's not a manipulation. You're just pushing on my muscles or my skin or whatever. Well, scientifically, they can consider that a manipulation. Grade 1, 2. Grade 3, you're getting a lot of the movement of the joint. Grade 4, you're in through the full joint at the end range. 5th is actually at the end range with a high velocity thrust through the end range. So, in the neck, more times than not, you don't need that grade 5 manipulation. You want to do a grade 1 or 2 or whatever, fine, but you don't really need that unless we're talking about some sort of facet syndrome or something along those lines. So yes, do I think manipulations are overused? Yes, I absolutely think they're overused way too much. Because the sheer, I mean, if you want to talk about it, no, it makes them feel better. Yes, there is a chemical endogenous opates, which is a kind of a cluster or group of chemicals that our body can give off to kind of dampen down inflammation and pain receptors for a short period of time. That's why it feels good after the manipulation if it's done correctly. But those chemicals go away fairly quickly and you end up tightening up a lot more. Your body ends up overreacting a lot of times and causing muscle guarding. That's the reason why they'll... Excuse me, I ate too much earlier. Ate too fast earlier. That's why if you've ever been to a chiropractor or physical therapist that does a lot of those manipulations, they're gonna start you out with either a massage table or a massage or heating pack to loosen up those muscles so they don't get the restriction from the tissue. They're just getting it from the joint. They'll do the manipulation and then they'll finish up with ice. They have to do that because otherwise that tissue right after is going to protect itself and it goes into what we call a muscle guarding reflex where your muscles and everything pull right together because you went through the end range motion, and it's just a natural what we call autonomic response of your tissue. You're not thinking of it. It's the autonomic system of our body, of our central nervous system that's doing that. And so that's the reason why. So the reality is unless you have a lot of restriction in your neck where you're stuck in multiple planes, usually in 2 planes of motion or more, then you don't need that. If we're dealing with a lot of just muscle pain, or tightness or some tightness and restriction, there's a couple of techniques or evaluation tools that I do personally to kind of evaluate is it a joint restriction versus a soft tissue restriction. So I got 11 people in here. Woo! Thank you so much for coming. Galaxy in the house. Jean's channels are you okay? Yeah, she's fine. She was eating breakfast. It's the other side of the earth. And so she's on that side. Brown BET still in the house giving me some green hearts. Now BET, she's a truck driver. She does all kinds of videos in regards to truck driving. She's getting busy like the rest of us. She's gone. She's was working through this whole thing. But if you watch a couple of her videos, which I implore you to, because I love watching other people's lives. I really do. My mom was a truck driver for a little bit. So maybe my mom, if she can at some point, would like to subscribe to her. If she has already, I actually have no idea. It might give my mom might give my mom PTSD. I was trying to keep a straight face, but I couldn't do it. But anyways, and so when we talk about manipulations, there's really only a couple reasons why you would do that. So yes, I think, like I said before, I think they're overused way too much. I think traction early on. There was a big thing back in the early 2000s where you had these chiropractors that were putting you on these machines, the T10,000, the T2000, right? It sounds like Terminator. But it's just basically this giant sized table. It had a TV you could watch TV on. All it was a glorified traction table. And they were charging people, like they put it on their credit card and say, oh yeah, you need to have 12 of these treatments. All it was mechanical traction. They're charging these people, I don't know. I saw a patient, this was years ago, charging like $2,500 for 12 treatments. Traction on its own, mechanical traction. Or if you look in my playlist, I actually did a video specifically on traction. I have an inversion table that I use every once in a great while. And I did a video specifically on that in my attic. This was probably, it was months and months and months ago before I even had Scully. But it's in my back playlist if you want to look at it. But inversion table is essentially the same thing as a mechanical traction, except for you're just using gravity and your body weight. You just have to be a little bit more careful because it's not as precise as it is when we put you on a traction table. We have belts and stuff. We can actually pull a certain amount of weight for whatever period of time you want to do it. But needless to say, traction was way overused, I think, and people were using it specifically onto itself, which is absurd. You need to have, and they were charging people for that, and like, yeah, it felt good maybe for a little bit. They went home, their spine cooled back down, all the blood flow and synovial fluid that was in that area cooled back down, and their pain came back because they didn't change anything. They didn't change how they were sitting. They didn't change how they were moving or lifting or bending or twisting. They didn't change the sleeping techniques. They didn't change any of the muscle imbalance that was probably going on in their back. I mean, there's a ton of things I could go over. So the reality is one, that's why I take a little bit of a couple of different gurus' philosophy and I make it my own, because after 20-some years of being a physical therapist and looking at the research over and over again, what was that hair club for men? I'm not only a patient, or I'm not only a client, or whatever it was back in the day. I've had back pain. I've had sciatica pain. I've had disc issues through the years. You get old enough, and I wasn't born. I have a pretty good childhood, but I wasn't born with a golden spoon. I worked on a farm. I worked for Frito-Lay. I worked for a guy that, buffed floors and stuff like that. I worked for McDonald's. I did all this stuff. And so, after a while, your back can, I just didn't go to school and became a physical therapist. I was one of those guys that kind of worked its way up the ladder a bit and went to school as well as worked full time. So, yeah, your back kind of takes a beating after a while. But you can have some, and I talked about this probably on one of my live streams in my back video. I went over some of the anomalies that the spine has that you might have, and we'll go over a few of those right here, right now, since I have 10 in the house, and I think people like to hear this kind of stuff. I'll just get away from, I don't want to give you all the nuggets to my edited video on Sunday. You'd be like, well, you already talked about that in the live stream. Why am I watching this edited video? You already said everything in this live stream. So I do want to leave some of the edited video information and content-wise for Sunday, So let's go ahead and so let's talk about a few anomalies in regards to the spine. So let me go ahead and see if I can get a good view shot here. I'm kind of looking at both. I'm looking at the camera view as well, so I can kind of give you guys a decent view. Let's go ahead and move the scapula over here. Flint, Michigan. Hi, Jeans. All right. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for sticking it out, sharing me out. You guys are coming in when I was running late. Obviously, I got a haircut, and I mowed the lawn quick. Mom, if you're still out there, I did the front and the back with that lawnmower in 20 minutes. Hey, it took me, when I did it with the push mower, well, I had to take a break because it's just so darn hot. But it took me about an hour to mow the front and probably like 45 minutes to mow the back push mower with the front assisted wheels. I did the front and back in 20 minutes. So instead of an hour and 45 minutes with a dying rest break in between because of heat exhaustion, so you give yourself another hour to cool down and rehydrate, I did the whole thing in 20 minutes. Love my mom, love my dad. It was more than worth it. You guys taking the extra effort, trucking that thing over here. Much love. Love you both. Thank you for taking the time. I had a great time with them coming over and visiting them for a few days. It was nice. Everybody loved it. My kids loved it, and hopefully Dad had a good time too. And I will be over there in a month or so. So we'll have a good time, go to Dollywood and stuff like that, and we'll spend some money. Right? Can't take it with you. So anyways, one of the initial anomalies is this. Now, I've talked about this in the past, and so if you've heard any of my live streams, I'm sure there's one of the anomalies is there's these fused bones down here. This orange bone essentially is your sacrum. It's supposed to be fused. Now, sometimes that's not the case on people. You can have what's called a remnant or congenital base disc that's between S1 and S2. You might actually have a small disc like you do in your spine, like you do in your jaw. Like I showed one of the TMJ, I talked about that, and one of my live streams. And so you can have right where that piece of metal is. This is S1. This is L5. L5 lumbar means L. S means sacrum. So this is L, the fifth and last lumbar vertebrae, and this is S1. And so you could actually have a disc between S1 and S2 and not realize it. You just have and it's not really going to show on an X-ray. You wouldn't really know this unless you had a CT scan or a PET scan or MRI or something. They usually give MRIs. They're not going to do CT scans or whatever unless there's some weird reason, an old surgery or hardware or something like that where you can't get an MRI, because MRI stands for magnetic resonance image. And so if you have metal in there anywhere in your body, you ain't having that magnet, because I hate to tell you folks, that metal will rip right out of your body when they turn that magnet on. I mean, it sounds like it's not possible, but you get an MRI and you have metal somewhere and you screwed up, or somebody screwed up somewhere along the lines, you in trouble real fast. Have you ever seen, what the heck was that movie with Sigourney Weaver? They did a bunch of them. Is that Predator? That's not Predator. Oh, Change for $1. Change for $1. Smith, Chris, come on in. Chris Smith, come on in. Change for $1. This guy is awesome. I've seen a bunch of his stuff. I'm connected with him through Twitter, and also I've been watching his stuff. He, at one point, he was going to quit because someone had hacked his channel, and I'm so glad he did. He does a lot of shout-outs now. He didn't do a lot of that before, but he does a lot of shout-outs on his videos. At Change for $1, Brown says, I'm well. Good to see you. Wish you come my way sometimes. Change for $1 has been busy, boy. And I love him. He does. I love his, that car that he's got. It's all with the big, I don't know, this thing's got to be 22-inch rims, man. Those things are massive. And I just love, his channel is awesome. He's very proactive, helping people out. And he knows, he really got hit hard when someone hacked his channel and deleted and lost a lot of his watch hours. Can you imagine if someone came, hacked your channel, and stole a lot of your watch hours and made you so you couldn't be monetized? It's terrible. That's beyond terrible. So I really am glad that he did not quit, because I remember watching that live stream of his, and he, I think it wasn't in the live stream. It was an edited video that he did afterwards or while it was taking place, and he's like, "Look, I think I'm done. I'm going to." And I'm glad cooler heads have prevailed, and I'm glad he stuck it out, because you know what? They would have won. That's what they were getting at. They were hoping you would quit. Those disgusting pigs. They were hoping that they beat you down enough that you would quit, and they would have won, because that was all about. That was all about them stealing because they were jealous that how good you were doing. And the fact is that you persevered. You stuck it right back to them, and you're doing well. So it's just what do they say? Who the heck was it? Oh, some famous actor, and I can't remember who it was that I was watching it. I watch all these these YouTube videos, and sometimes they have clips of famous actors in them. I don't know who the heck it was, Sam Jackson or Denzel Washington or someone like that. He was talking. It was a guy, and he was talking to a group of people, actors or students of acting or something like that. Something I can't remember. And he talks about if you get down, someone knocks you down 13 times, you get up 14 times. And that's really what you've done. And so thank you so much for sticking it out and keep going, because the reality is it can't really get much worse than that. Someone hacking your channel, deleting your stuff before you could get to it and stop them and taking some of your watch hours. It doesn't get any worse than that. So kudos to you. Keep it up. Thank you so much. This is Alternative Tongues host. Oh, Chris, this is your other channel. Oh, I didn't realize that. Thank you so much. This is Alternative Tongues. I didn't realize he had a second channel. Chris Smith. That's kind of cool. I like that. It's Smith with a Y and an E. Or is it Smythe? It might be Smythe. I'm not good with names. Terrible. I'm terrible with names. My joke is that's the reason why my parents named me Joe. It's actually Joseph, after my grandfathers. Both my grandfathers, Joseph from my dad and Frederick from my grandfather on my mom's side. My dad on my mom's side, I should say, or my grandfather. And so, but I always say J-O-E because I can't remember anybody's names. It's terrible. I can't forget a face, but names, and some of these names, man, are like alphabet soup. They got so many vowels, I don't think Vanna White could get it right. It's so, forgive me if I mispronounce your name. I truly don't mean anything. Oh, it's Smite. Oh, God, I would have never got that. Oh, yeah, like Smite. Okay, Chris Smite. Oh, all right. Now I know. Thank you so much. You see, when it's spelt like that, an idiot like me can figure it out. So there's even hope for me. So anyways, this is Alternative Tongues. Guy went back working full time like the rest of us. And so he's working. Hey, Chris, are you like a computer programmer? Because I know you talked about a graphics designer, because I know you talked about you at one point when you're doing your live streams on your Alternative Tongue channel, you were talking about where you can play multiple videos or people's videos on their channels. I could think I get 7 or 8 out of this tower that I have built. But you were talking about, because your work, you kind of really crank out a lot more. It's me who plays your videos until tomorrow. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, I think right now, between my live streams and my edited videos, I think I have like 24 or 26 hours. Now that you've done that, I know I watched you all the way through once. Oh, you're an architect by profession. Oh, okay. Cool. Change for $1. Okay, thanks. I see you too. Oh, good. So they got. I thought you were already connected. Brown Eye Trucker, you got to be already connected to Change for $1. I see you on his Twitter account. I'm on the same Twitter account, or connected accounts, or whatever you want to call it, on Twitter. So, yeah, he talked about eating a salad. He's just like, and that, he had some cucumbers and some lettuce, and so he was eating a salad this morning. So it's nice to start to really get this connection with other people on other platforms, and we're all connected to the same. So I think that's a newer wave that's going on. I think we're Brown Eye Trucker. I think we're starting to ride that wave, and so is it Change for $1, a bunch of other people that I'm connected with on Twitter, as well as some other what do you want to call them, platforms, server platforms, like Instagram and stuff like that. We start to get a connection, between YouTube and the rest of them, versus expecting everybody to come to your channel from a different server. It's more like we're going from YouTube to the other channels and see, if we can get some more connections that way versus vice versa. The Bubble News, howdy, just saying hello, saw you live. Thank you so much, Bubbles. Come on in, let's get some connections. So let's go ahead and talk about the other thing that I talked about, the other abnormality that you can have in the spine is your transverse processes, which are these things sticking out that I'm tapping all the way through your back. And obviously, they're different sizes. The larger ones are down in your lower back. Muscles and ligaments and tendons are anchored off of those. And so here's the thing that you guys, maybe you might know. I have no idea. But because muscles and tendons are attached to these bones as we grow, and gravity and everything else and movement pull on the bones off of these tissues. The tissues pull on these bones, and they start to stretch them out more and make them more elongated and make the shapes that they are. And so, the reality is no two pelvises are alike. You have some similarities, but you can have some abnormalities a lot. A nerve that's supposed to be there that might be over a little bit further than it should be, or a disc that's not supposed to be there that is, or in this case, your L5 transverse processes is very elongated like this one is here, and it is fused with your S1. And so you really don't have an L5 S1 joint, because your transverse processes of your L5 is fused with your S1. And that can happen. And you might never know that. You might not know that until you have an x-ray. Maybe for some reason, your 20s or 30s, you hurt your back or whatever, you're in an accident, and they take an x-ray and like, holy cow, look at this. This guy's L5S1 doesn't move. And so your body was able to compensate as you grew. So normal compensation can happen a lot when you're very young. So change for $1. Hi, Willow Galaxy. Look at that. A nice connection with change for $1. Hopefully get a good connection. Hi, change for. So Willow Galaxy, I don't know if you guys, you're probably already connected. Hard to tell. But Scully's blowing up really good now. I just looked at here. He's actually doing quite well with this. So this is my OBS I'm using, obviously my 1080p. That's the reason why the camera view looks so good. This is 1080p. It's as good as it gets, excuse me, on the internet for YouTube. They don't allow you to send the signal to their YouTube server any more high def than what you're seeing right now. And I can have little graphics and stuff like that on it. I've played music. I think maybe in the fall or something like that, I might get a green screen. You can get them for $200 or $300. I'll probably do that definitely after I'm monetized. I'm hoping in the fall. I'll probably get Scully monetized first and get him moving along. I showed my mom when she was over here what Scully's going to look like, and so she knows exactly where I'm going with this channel a little bit. And I think get Scully animatronic wise, so he's talking, he's moving, he's colored eyes, he does all kinds of things. And then green screen and stuff like that, as well as keep the content and hopefully get better at this. We'll see. We'll see where life takes me. What about post-osteoporosis and how it affects how hips and lower back? You mean like postmenopausal osteoporosis? So you can get, osteoporosis. So if you want to talk about initially osteopenia is what it's called before you can get osteoporosis. And so that we're talking about the density of the bone. Think of it basically like Swiss cheese. You actually literally, the bones itself become thin and brittle and they get hollow or holes in them like Swiss cheese does. And so obviously things become much easier to fracture, spontaneous fractures and stuff like that. Yes, so you can talk what we talk about. She's talking about postmenopausal osteoporosis, and so you have your hormones and stuff like that. And so when you're female, when you're younger, as well as men, as our hormones change as we get older, our testosterone drops in men, and the estrogen and progesterone kind of starts to ramp up a little bit, and that changes the density of the calcium and how our calcium is, or vitamin D or whatever, how you want to call it, is laid down in our bones. Because the reality is, in our lifetime, our skeletal system is kind of reformed 3 different times in our life. Our spine completely redoes itself 3 times in a lifetime. You know, our blood vessels, our red blood cells, they change every so often. I think it's every 28 or 30 days or something like that. Our white blood cells die out and they get remade. And so in our whole body, so needless to say, when something's being reanimated again, in this case our bones over time, if you don't have the correct hormone balance, things start to get out of whack. Things that normally would be there to cause the density to occur aren't anymore. So a combination of hormone factors and well as vitamin deficiency start to play together with one another, and you can start to get bone density issues. And that's the reason why they have certain drugs out there, or hormonal drugs, that go ahead and give you shots to really start to kind of uptake the calcium in your bones so that it can lay that down a lot quicker and a lot more dense. And so that's where I'm coming from with that. I mean, there's weight bearing and stuff like that that also helps with bone density. The muscles themselves, when you use them all the time through gentle resistance strength training, helps keep the bone density occurring because the muscles and tendons are pulling on the bones, causing them to work. And so, yes, there's a lot to be said for exercising non-compressive forces, whether it's walking, elliptical, stationary bike, aquatic pool therapy, or just going to the pool, you know, novice classes and advanced classes and stuff like that for water aerobics and stuff like that. There's tons and tons and tons of government research and insurance research that looks at all that stuff because they want to stop paying for people to go to the hospital. And if they can do that by proactively doing research and looking at, does this stuff really work? Yes, it does. It keeps you out of the hospital. It keeps you healthier longer. When you do get sick, your recovery time's a lot shorter. Your quality of life is a lot higher. So the reality is, yes, there's a lot to be said. There's tons of research that shows that, yes, this does do what we say it does. Woo! That was long drawn out, wasn't it? How long have I even been on this live stream? I can't tell from this thing. I gotta go back here on my OBS. Did I answer your question, Aunt Lou? Why is that not telling me how long I've been live? It just tells me I'm live. It doesn't tell me how long. Oh, there we go. I've been on 1 hour and 12 minutes. I haven't done this in so long I forgot how to do it. Change for $1 with a... Aunt Lou says yes. Good. I'm glad, Aunt Lou. Thank you. Go ahead, click back out. Click, click, click. And there we go. All right, so let's change the color here. I love changing this. Boom. Let's turn red. Woo! That's kind of cool. All right. Excuse me. Oh, it's almost 8:39. Good Lord. All right. Got 9 in the house. I'm going to call it quits. So, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. My live stream tomorrow will probably be really late. I got to work late, and there's some other stuff I need to do. So my live stream will not be early tomorrow. It will be late. How late, I have no idea. If you're willing to come and able to come, I would hope you be able to, be able to join. If not, I understand. Everybody has what's called a life. But I will be talking a little bit more about abnormalities in the spine. I'm probably going to go into the pelvis a little bit to kind of combine the, I might even add in the video of my new disc video versus my old disc video. That's something we might go over too in my live stream tomorrow. So until next time, I always say with Scully, you got to look up and keep smiling. All right, bye guys. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see if I can turn this off correctly. Probably not. I don't remember how I did it before. Bye, everyone.